What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing The Flash episode 20, which was titled Gone Rogue. Now, this is going to be a full-on review of the episode, so spoiler warning is definitely, in effect. If you have not yet caught up with this season of The Flash, you have been warned. If you have not yet stopped your video, it is not my fault. Now, I'm going to just jump straight into this. Seeing as I want to break this up into smaller videos, I want to jump at this discussion real quickly. Now, this episode was very much short-lived because of the fact, we all got excited seeing what was, taking action in the last episode, in episode 19, in which Nora was able to use Thawne's way of getting around undetected, in which they called it the negative speed force. Now, we all knew that Barry generates the positive side every time he runs, and Reverse Flash generates the negative side every time he runs. This was basic, comic book 101 kind of stuff, but they actually, introduced it in the show, and they said that Eobard Thawne himself has created the negative speed force, in which it did make sense because we all know his model was he was supposed to be the reverse of Barry Allen, the reverse of everything Barry was. So he recreated the accident, and gave himself speed, and over time he has manipulated it and has done crazy things, and he's even documented these things. And it was kind of funny to see that in the last episode. You get like these video flashbacks to season 1, in which there was things that we didn't see on screen, but there was a lot of stuff that probably happened off screen, in which he was keeping these video journals and stuff like that of him cracking a new code in the Speed Force or something like that. So that was pretty much, an informative kind of way to introduce the negative speed force. And I think it was pretty solid, pretty legit, So Nora uses that to go back to 2019. Now, if you guys remember, Barry took her to the future and said, you know what, if you try to time travel back, he would feel it, because they're connected, as far as the speed force. You know what I'm saying? So then she goes to Thawne and, she wants to know how to get back home. That was her thing. I want to get back home. How do you always go around without being detected? That's when he tells her, you know what, I created this, that, and the third, and that is the only way for you to be able to go back. But for you to be able to have access to that, you have to go through, these kind of rigorous trials. That's what I would call it, these little trials. So she had to basically, channel her anger and then not, channel her anger and let it out instead of holding it in. If that makes sense to you guys. Then you've seen it displayed out in this episode, in which Iris went to the future to try to bring her back home, and she gets super angry, and then you see her lightning turn red, and that's when she's able to fully run through the speed force, the negative speed force, and run home. Now, as Thawne says, is you go undetected, so he didn't know where she was. He just know what time period she went to, and of course she went back to 2019 to go home. So now we get to the Gone Rogue episode, in which she's in Central City and she's basically going around undetected. No one knows where she is. Barry is finally concerned, and then we get into more arguments between Barry and Iris, seeing as Barry thought they were past their little argument, but yet there is still something, going on clearly between the family. There is still an argument about the level of trust, and Barry still can't trust her And Iris just wants her daughter to come home. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to be a good mother, and as I said, she's still trying to avoid that future Iris that Nora has told her about, you know? So yeah, you know, as I said, there's a 50-50 debate when it comes to this kind of topic, because at the same time you have Nora, who's worked with, Barry's mother's killer. You know what I'm saying? She's worked with Thawne. Thawne has been, like a little whisperer in her ear, commanding her, controlling her, telling her what to do, this, that, and the third. But then when you think about it, his intentions weren't, like to be inexplicably evil as of yet. I'm going to throw that in there, as of yet, because we all know that he needs Nora for something. Because in season 1, he needed Barry to go back home. So maybe he's trying that again, to use that, same sequence with Nora, but this time maybe Nora will be able to break him out of his holding, his prison cell. So that's why I say it is a 50-50 chance. But at this point, it does feel like, he actually cares about her, and he feels like a father figure, because Barry wasn't around and he was the only one around. So that is the bold statement to make, when you talk about this future that Nora grows up in, and that's something that Iris, far as the show goes, that's something that she is starting to understand. She sees that Thawne actually has, feelings for Nora. Not in that kind of way, you know what I'm saying? But he feels for her like a daughter, because Thawne himself has never had any kids, you know what I'm saying? So he went from basically mentoring and, like raising Barry in season 1, and now it's happened again in this season, in which he's, mentoring and raising Nora. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a child in need. She was a child in need of a father figure. She was a child in need of answers, and this man was the only person to give her those answers. So now she's in 2019. She's stealing blueprints. She's robbing these high name brand places. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but they're well-known companies throughout Central City. But one thing I wanted to say before I actually got into this was, I knew something was going to be up towards, her end of the bargain. I kind of figured that this little team up with the Rogues wasn't going to be a successful one, because of the fact that, they know who she is, and you can't just flip the switch between good and bad just like that. You have to literally go through some shit to want to do things the bad way. You know what I'm saying? Now, yes, granted, she has been through some emotional trauma, but it wasn't enough to make her a villain. But yet, the showrunners decided, you know what, we're going to go with this little story and see how it goes. And just by judging everyone's, opinions about the episode after it aired, we all agreed that, yeah, she's not meant to be a bad girl. You know what I'm saying? She's not meant to be an evil speedster. But if you guys were going to go with that far as a storyline, you should have went with it full on episode. You know what I mean? At least let it continue on into the next episode or something. But this was just a one part thing. So now it's just like faded away. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what was the point of doing this. But as I said, she teamed up with the Rogues. And I personally felt, before I even, got into the episode, that she was going to end up tricking them. But yet it ended up, the Rogues tricking Nora. So they always knew from the beginning, like, yeah, she's been through some things, but she is still a good girl underneath this cloud of judgment that is in front of her. So you have Bree, and you have Weather Witch, and you had Ragdoll, and it was awesome to see Ragdoll, and I just love his character is just so creepy like and so awesome, because there was that scene where he had to go through that metal piping to get inside of the vault and open up the door, and I was for sure he was not going to fit in there, but then he just like went in there and shoved his face. And I just love the CGI effects of his character. I don't really like the sounds that it makes though, but you know, it's pretty standard to his character, because his character is able to twist and bend himself. So it's kind of like bones breaking every single time he goes into these poses and stuff, you know. Um, but the actor himself that's playing it is an actual contortionist, and he was on, I believe, America's Got Talent, and he was on, I believe, the Penn and Teller show as well. And as I said, you know, this is something that he does in real life, so that's what just makes it more cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not fully staged. Like, this is him actually twisting and bending his body, and then they just throw the CGI scenes in which whenever it's needed, you know. For example, the pipe scene, like, of course they need it for that, you know what I'm saying? I don't believe he can actually shove his face into something like that. Now that'd be totally gross and awesome at the same time. But yeah, they meet up at this little gala event in which there are some weapons to be sold, you know, and they were supposed to go big on the black market. Typical black market. Now, we've seen this black market before in which they went up against Goldface and Barry, and Ralph went, you know, into their whole undercover mode, and it was pretty cool. That episode was actually a very good episode. But this was kind of like the same story, but Nora's version, in which she was, you know, initially working with the rogues, but she kind of led them into a trap, which led her into her own trap. Now, the way that the trap works is this: they get there, they go along with Nora's plan, and then, you know, you get this little talk between Weather Witch and Nora kind of pretty much just threw herself underneath the bus once again, because she spills the beans about, you know, her wanting her father to pretty much bring her home. She still has feelings for her father, but yet she's willing to, you know, go through all of this trouble just to get his attention. Now that was the main thing, to get her father's attention, and also to probably trap these rogues. Now, we all know from comic book history and just watching TV shows in general that, you know, any bad guy tends to break out of their prison, you know, very often. So maybe she just knew that these guys were going to break out eventually and team up and do something, you know, despicable, and this was the only way to capture them. But yet, there was a plan within the plan. Now, this is, you know, very Captain Cold like, you know, you have a plan, then you have a backup plan, and if the plan goes off the rails, you throw away the plan, you know? That's something that Captain Cold has always said, and I just miss his character a lot, you know? When you think about the rogues and how important Captain Cold was to them, you know, then seeing these new rogues, you're like, do we really like these new guys? Or do we like the OG guys? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you like the original rogues, or do you like the new rogues? So yeah, you know, she tells Weather Witch that, yeah, there's some tiny part in her that, you know, that still loves her father and wishes he can come and take her home, blah, blah, blah. So then that's when, you know, her moment of weakness just like, it's out. You know what I'm saying? It's right there out in the cover. So yeah, they get to the weapons vault, and there's everything in the room, and she just tells them, now the last part is, you know, just grab everything and get out of here. So then Weather Witch and Bree turn on Nora and say, you know what? There's been a change of plans. So now we're going to tie you up along with these guards, and we're going to get out of here with all of this stuff. But first, we're going to lead the Flash here. We're going to lower him in to our little facility. You know what I'm saying? Our little fun house right here, in which we have people tied up. And if you want to go home, the Flash has to reveal his secret identity. Now, this is something that I honestly was getting ready to like just throw the remote control, because we all know how easily Barry reveals his secret identity. But this didn't happen, except for the fact that this was possibly the worst Flash impersonation we have ever seen. So the Flash does indeed show up, but he is there in a double kind of situation. Sort of like how Eobard Thawne was able to, do this mirage of himself, but it wasn't an actual mirage that was being projected from Barry. Barry was using Sherlock, Sherlock, Sherlocky. It's always weird, his name. Sherlock. Barry was actually using Sherlock's, facial recognition kind of scrambler thing. So he was in disguise as one of the guards, along with Iris and Joe. Now, as I said, these guards were tied up to their chairs, and this plan right here was so epic and so amazing, and it was good to see the family trio together. Now, as I said, the worst impersonation of the Flash ever was being played by Sherlock. Now, he was back at Star Labs, and he had the virtual reality helmet on and the motion sensor gloves kind of situation. So he's over here doing moves back and forth, pretending to be the Flash, and this was just the most horrific thing that we could have ever seen. It was very laughable as well, but not believable, as Weatherwitch, caught on to it very, very quickly. She says, you really tried this again? Like, you thought I was going to fall for it? So she tries to shoot him with her staff. But for some reason, for you to say that, why would you try to shoot a hologram with a staff? You know what I'm saying? It's a hologram. It can't be hurt. And then, while I'm going to elaborate on that scene, while she's shooting the hologram, you have Sherlock back at Star Labs. He's just like, whoa, like jumping around, like if that lightning was actually going to hit him. So then we get the whole reveal scene in which Barry, as I said, Barry, Iris, and Joe were disguised as the guards. So they were there the whole entire time. A plan within a plan within a plan within a plan. It was so funny, so good. But as I said, it was great to see the trio. I love how Iris looked in that black armor suited, and Joe looked pretty badass as well. And then he had to go up against Ragdoll. Ragdoll was fucking him up, just to be honest. He was kicking their ass. But then Iris just, steps in as always and tries to be the hero. And she ends up being the hero for a couple of seconds, in which she knocks out Ragdoll, and he just falls to the floor like a ragdoll. No pun intended. Well, I guess you can say pun intended, because that is his name. But yeah, that's what happened. He fell straight down to the floor just like a ragdoll. And then they joined the fight back inside, where Brie Larver, Brie Larver, Brie something. I'm trying not to say like have the actual actress Brie Larson, but I believe it's Brie Larverson, like larva, something associated with the bees or some shit like that. But I'm just gonna say Brie. She has released her robot bees, which is so annoying, but very effective at times. But yet she still doesn't learn. She is not the smartest person. She has been defeated by Cisco multiple times, and she has also been defeated by Felicity. Um, like, why not update your tech to make yourself more threatening? You know what I'm saying? Then you have no fight moves whatsoever, no sorts of combat. So once your bees are, dismantled, yeah, your ass is grass. You know what I'm saying? but Weather Witch was putting up quite a fight. And then we see the scene where Barry and Nora, like this is them fighting together. They get real emotional. You know what I'm saying? They're shooting weapons. Barry wants to draw out all the fire so she could try to, run away or escape or save the day possibly. And she, at that moment, noticed that, Barry's willing to sacrifice himself once again, to save her life. You know what I'm saying? So he does care. And this makes Nora feel a different way now, in which, as I said, with this storyline, we were hoping it were going to last a lot longer, but it is very much short-lived, as that was all it took, to get her to notice how much he cares for her. He had to go out in the middle of, this fire. That staff could very much hurt Barry. At times it had killed Barry, you know what I'm saying? Put him into a severe state in which he had to be, shocked back to life. No pun intended there, but you get it. So he throws himself out in the line once again, and that's when Nora realizes, yes, he cares about me, he loves me, this, that, and the third. Then they have this conversation in which they're standing, in their own like Speed Force circle kind of situation in which time and everything is slowed down around them. They're having a conversation. Then they decide, you know what, let's team up together and let's take down Weather Witch. And that moment was pretty cool. But as I said, I was sold on the fact that Nora was going to intentionally be, evil this entire episode. But this is what we got. You know what I'm saying? They put the story to rest now, seeing as her lightning went back to its original color. Now, one question I do have for you guys is, do you think she will always have that access to the negative Speed Force? Or has it just, gone away permanently? Let me know in the comments section below. Because you've seen at that very scene in which the circle around them, it was back to her original color. It was like the purple mixed with like the yellowish orange color. Then you see Barry's natural colors going around. And that scene was just a lot of cool colors. And I love the way it popped, you know what I'm saying? It didn't look like just some projection. It looked like it was actually there. It looked pretty cool. But it was kind of fun to, have that idea that Nora could possibly go evil and what Barry would do against his own daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because throughout his life, going up against these evil speedsters and stuff, none of them has had a family connection to him. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, okay, I have to stop someone. I have to stop my daughter. I have to stop my brother. I have to stop my sister, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? It was just always people that he knew, you know what I'm saying? Like friends or, co-workers and stuff like that. But this time was different. He had to go up against his daughter. And in the beginning, when he first seen her run, when she first got angry and her eyes turned red and stuff like that, great acting, by the way, from Grant Gustin. You seen the emotion once again in his face. He's seen that look. He's like, I seen those eyes and I seen this color lightning before, and this was Thawne's way. This is how he got into Nora. So Barry was pretty much afraid. You know what? Like, I'm not going to be able to stop her. But nonetheless, episode was pretty decent. Short-lived, but pretty decent. And then towards the end, sorry, I'm eating. We get the whole Grace Cicada situation once again. Now they were chasing her. Well, not literally chasing her, but they're chasing these leads as to where she could possibly be. And she has a younger Grace with her as well. She's still very much hooked up to these monitors and stuff like that. And she's, on the Gertie still, like the little hospital bed thing. So Little Grace is still, very much under her coma, I think. Then you have Grace Cicada, or Cicada number two is which they call it on the show. I like Grace Cicada more because it adds a better ring to it. So her initial plans were, to continue on with her father's workings. But every time she tries, Team Flash is able to stop her. Regardless if she has had the upper hand on Team Flash, they have put a stop to every single plan that she has put into action. So now she has to come up with the ultimate plan in which she uses Cisco's drug. Well, not his drug, his cure, to basically not only cure Team Flash of their powers, or to cure herself of the powers or something, but she wants to cure the entire world. Now, these were unstable, like trials in the beginning for the cure. This is something that we seen was given to King Shark in the beginning before they perfected it. Now you've seen the effects that it actually had, but I guess if you combined all the trials together, something, tragic might happen. So this might be enough for like a super showdown in the final two episodes. And I want to say that this plan is pretty much brilliant and it's genius, without having to go around and like literally stab everyone with your dagger. You can just put this in the atmosphere and have people breathe it in. Because I think that is what she's going to initially do, which is why she had that little probe kind of ball situation. She's probably going to infuse the cure inside of it somehow, and maybe shoot it up into the skies and let it go off in the air. As I said, you can probably breathe it in or something like that. Or maybe it's like in liquid form and it just like rains down on everyone, causing them to, lose their meta gene. So this will definitely be the fight of their lives and of everyone else's around the city. Now, the fact that this was supposed to be primarily Nora-based episode, we end up getting Grace Cicada towards the end, and that leaves, into the cliffhanger into the next week's episodes. As I said, not the perfect episode, but not completely bad. I was just sold off of the fact that, we're going to have evil Nora running around doing, a lot of things. How is Barry going to stop her? But that was short-lived, as I said. But we did get a portion of it, which was pretty good, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is clear to me and clear to everyone else that she is not fit for the evil class. So, in the comment section below, as I asked, just let me know what your thoughts was of this episode. Did you like the fact that Nora was initially supposed to be evil, or did you feel like the evil side was not meant for her? And what do you think will happen with Grace's plan? Will this plan actually live out, or will she be stopped once again? I hope you guys enjoyed my review of this episode. Sorry I had to take time to eat during talking, but it's been, a very hard day for me. So I'm just trying to, get a meal in me and then do some more things, put out some more videos and stuff for you guys. I have issued a message on my back half of my channel. I'm not sure if everyone's seen that message, but this channel has definitely been in danger, seeing as YouTube has been after me the whole entire time. They were issuing me a strike for one of my live streams, and this is why my live stream is always stopped and everything like that. So this is the reason why I can't do music. And I have to watch everything that I do because they're literally on me. I have one regular strike, one active strike, and then I had gotten a community strike. Now, once you get the community strike, it depends on the level of the strike. You know what I'm saying? So if you're like close to the super angry phase, yeah, they will stop your live streaming and your uploads. So that's what basically happened. I did an appeal. They took away, you know, they took away the active strike, but I'm still in warning basically. So now I'm back to uploading videos and I can go back to doing my live streams. So that's what happened. That's just the info updating you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.